Hello everyone and welcome back to E2E. Today we are officially starting the end game. Well, I guess we officially started the end game last episode when we made the ultimate crafting table here, but we are going to start making things that you can only make in the ultimate crafting table, which I guess technically would be end game stuff. So what exactly are we going to be doing today? Well, I want to automate / craft up 3 specific end game items that we're going to need in the future, and that is going to be the ultimate ingot, Anglesite, and Benitoite. And I think the best course of action is to start off with the ultimate ingot. This is the crafting recipe right here, and I want to automate this entirely. Now, I know realistically, I could just batch craft maybe like 4 stacks of these and I wouldn't really have to worry about it, but I feel like automating this would be more fun in general, so that is what we are going to do. But first, we actually need to automate that, and I don't want to use this crafting table because this is going to be the one that ends up going in the endgame building that we're going to be building at some point. I have no idea when we're going to build that. It might be next episode. It might be the one after. We're not doing it today, though, because these are going to take a while, I have a feeling. So we are going to have to make another one of these, which is slightly inconvenient, because if you remember last episode, this did take a little while. So honestly, you've seen this done before. I'm just going to go ahead and gather all these up, grab an ultimate crafting table, get a pattern ready, and then we can actually start gathering everything that we need for the ultimate ingot. Well, good news, didn't take that long. Bad news, we have to use 2 more cell frames of the resonant variety, which of course is annoying to craft. But, I mean, that's okay. It shouldn't be too difficult now that we have those bees set up. Anyways, let's go ahead and make this crafting table right here, and this is going to be the one where we automate the ultimate ingots. Theoretically, it should go right here to match up with that one, and I think that's a good place to put it. We can just go ahead and move all of these. Eventually, these will all get moved to the endgame building, but we'll leave them here for now. Alright, anyways, I also went ahead and grabbed an automation interface, a packager or unpackager, and a normal interface. There's 2 things we need to do to get this set up. We need to A, make the package for it, and B, we need to actually put a craft into here to set it into here. So I think we're going to start by doing this. We can make the pattern last, which also gives us a nice opportunity to check what we actually have done already. There's a lot of stuff in here that we already have. So let's just go ahead and grab everything that we have from here and put it into here, and then we can see what we need to automate, what we need to gather, what we need to actually make. So let's start from the top, and let's head over to the ME system here. See what we got. The first thing is thorium, boron, and iron. I'm going to consider anything that I have 1,000 or more of fine. I don't think we're going to need to automate all of these. I think we're just going to need to have 1,000 or more, and then that'll be fine. So thorium, we have that. Boron, we definitely have that. Iron, I know we have that. And then gold, titanium aluminide, and titanium iridium. Gold is easy. We have a 1.3 million. And let's see, titanium aluminide is right here, but we do have a pattern set up for that, so that's good. And I believe we also have a pattern set up for titanium iridium. Let's just go ahead and take a look. We do. Now the issue with those is they take iridium and aluminum. Aluminum is fine, iridium should be fine, titanium isn't. Let's actually check how much magnesium ore we have. We have 18k, so we should be able to turn that into 18,000 titanium. That is enough for this, but it's not enough for the future. We're going to consider it good enough for now. Let's just go ahead and batch craft up like 4,000 titanium ingots, and we'll consider that good enough for the ultimate ingot here. All right, let's check what's next. Carbon brick. Now, I know for a fact we do not have those or a pattern for them, and that just requires charcoal. Okay. And we only have 10 charcoal, so we're definitely going to have to get a pattern for that. Let's figure out how to actually do that. Do I have charcoal anywhere? Let's go look around here. More specifically in the forestry building. If there were a place where we would have charcoal, it would be in here. And we do. We have 985 stacks worth because we used to be making treated wood, and this was the byproduct. So let's just go ahead and put a couple of upgrades on this, put a lock on it, and then we can attach this to our main drawer system, make a simple pattern for that, and carbon brick is now complete. Next up is star metal. Now I know we do not have a lot of star metal. Matter of fact, we have no star metal, and there's a few ways to get this. You can either get the star metal ore in a laser or with the starlight transmutation. We've done this before and it's quite slow. Or it spawns on other planets. So what I'm thinking is, why don't we just go ahead and set up a nice little ore processor? We have a ×3 right here, and with one additional machine, we could turn this into a ×4. So why don't we just turn this into a ×4, and then we can grab our digital miner and go onto a different planet, grab a bunch of star metal, and then we can shove it into that 4x processor and call it good from there. Where do these actually spawn? 68% on Kelt, 85 on Neptune, and 72 on Uranus. So I think Neptune is probably going to be our best bet. And I probably should actually put my spacesuit on this time. I also could could just enchant this armor with airtight seal. Oh, wow, and you can literally just craft airtight seal. Well, why don't I just do that? That makes way more sense. Let's head to Neptune. This is the one with the ice dragons, apparently, because there's a giant dragon skull right here. Now, of course, we do need to config this. Let's remove that one and add or dictionary or astral star metal. And there you go. As you can see, it shows up right there. And if we start it, we will instantly run out of power, but we should mine some. 888 to mine. Multiply that by 4. That's like 3,200. That will be plenty. All right, so if we go ahead and take a look at Mechanism's 4x processor, as you can see, you put a piece of ore in here and you use hydrogen chloride or just salt, and then you get 4 shards, which these shards go into the purification chamber with oxygen, goes into the other one, goes into the other one, blah, blah, blah. Everything is fine. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get that set up. So we need to grab, what do we actually need for this? A chemical injection chamber. And we are going to put it on the 5th floor of our skyscraper. Unfortunately, we are not using a lot of the rest of the floors, but that's fine. The reason I'm putting it in here is so we can just have the interface going in and we can pump salt directly from the system. I think that's going to be the best way to do this. Alrighty, well, we are back. We got everything set up, and I've discovered something a little bit unfortunate. So if we go ahead and take a look here, there's 699 hydrogen chloride in this injecting factory. And if we go ahead and take a look at, I don't know, a piece of copper ore that I was using for testing, if we put it in the chemical injection chamber, it takes 200 millibuckets of hydrogen chloride, which, okay, that's fine. How much does one piece of salt give? Well, let's just plug that back in and we can take a look. It's 2 per salt. We have 1.7 million salt, but as you can see, this is extremely slow. So I think we may as well just go ahead and create hydrogen chloride. It's not actually that bad. All you need is a chemical infuser with some hydrogen and chlorine. Chlorine can be acquired from electrolytically separating brine, and brine comes from a thermal evaporation tower. All right, well, here is our big setup. We got our resistive heater using 2.5 KRF. That makes this thing stupid hot. 10,000 degrees Kelvin. Yep, works for me. There goes in the brine, there goes in the water, goes into here, into chlorine. Hydrogen comes from here. We have hydrogen chloride, and that goes straight into here. So let's put a 13 copper ore just to test this thing. Does this in fact work? Looks like it does. So let's go ahead and actually put all my garbage in my inventory away, and then we can test this with stellar metal, whatever that stuff was called. Star metal? Yeah, whatever. And there we go. All of the star metal has been mined from here. Nice. All right, we pop back over here to the actual processor. Let's check how things are doing. Yep, it looks like oxygen is in fact the problem. I may just want to make another electrolytic separator and, you know, use this just to get more stuff, because I mean this one's lacking water, so I guess I could just run the water pipe over to here. Yeah, I'll probably do that because we definitely need some more oxygen. That is currently our limiting factor. If we do go ahead and take a look, this should be making a whole bunch of star metal, and that should be sent in to the system. We already have 320. Nice. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade that water and then we can keep going, but for now let's go ahead and grab a piece of star metal and put it right there. Check what the next thing is. That is going to be mana steel. Now that is going to be a tough situation because the only way to actually automate mana steel is with mana infusion, and I think next episode we may just want to make the everlasting mana pool, because the only thing that we don't have here is benitoite, and lo and behold, that's what we're doing today. I don't think we're going to need to set up automation for this. I think I'm just going to go ahead and grab a whole bunch in the background. I'll probably do the same thing for elementium. That should be fine, and eventually we can get this automated as well as elementium whenever we have the infinite mana. So for now, we'll consider that good enough, which does mean we can go ahead and officially put the first 9 items into the ultimate crafting table. 72 ingots to go. All right, let's move on to the second row. This one's going to be a little bit complicated because there's some really nasty stuff up here. Terra steel is good. We have 189,000 essence. Let's just batch craft up 1,000. After that is elementium. We've already discussed that. We'll just be making that in the background. 365 is enough for now. Draconium, we do have a pattern for that. We are kind of running out of the essence, which is not so good. Awakened draconium, same thing. We have 11,000 seeds, but that is not nearly enough. If we go to craft 1,000 ingots, yeah, we need like 25,000 essence, which is absurd. But let's just go ahead and make like 300. That should be fine, and then we will consider that good enough for the awakened draconium. Next up is black iron. We have a pattern for that, so no worries there. Crystalline, same thing. And I'm probably just going to go ahead and batch craft up maybe like 200 crystalline. That's going to take a while, so it's good that we started it now, but at least we have that done. Now the next thing is demon ingot. Now this is going to be a bit odd because you need to dump a piece of gold, into lava with nether bricks on all 4 sides, and that makes a demon ingot. So I am going to get automation set up for this because I'm fairly certain you can't just like drop an entire stack. You actually have to drop them one at a time. We are going to try it though because we have how much gold now? 1.3 million, so it really isn't that bad if we lose a stack of gold. I'd rather not after all, but just in case, let's test it. That does in fact work. Okay, well, never mind. That's going to be a pretty easy thing to automate, so let's just go grab an automatic dropper, an item collector, and that'll be pretty much everything good for that. Oh, now that's interesting. So the precise dropper did just completely burn it. Does it have to be thrown in manually? All right, well, never mind on that. I guess we will do it by hand. That's not too bad, though. I mean, literally, we're just going to grab like an inventory of gold and just kind of drop it in all at once, and then we probably won't have to worry about it again, but that's a bit unfortunate. And it did look like I threw some of that gold in a little too fast. But I mean, how much is that? 1,200? Yeah, let's just grab another inventory gold and then we can call it good from there. All right, next up is enchanted ingots. Now these are crafted in the enchanter with 8,000 RF. And we do have an enchanter actually set up right here. So I think I'm just going to move that maybe to like right in the center of this room because I think we still have 3 channels worth of stuff here. So if we just put it here, then we can set up automation for not just that, but I think there's another thing that uses the enchanter. Is it the evil infused? It is. Okay, well, there you go. So we can set it up for those two. Perfect. All right, enchanter has been moved up here. There was an issue that I ran into that if I tried to put an item cable here, it wouldn't count this as a bookshelf. Luckily, we can put Ender IO stuff in the same tile, so everything should be good to go. Let's go ahead and chuck these patterns in here. And let me go ahead and make the evil infused one just to see if that does in fact work. Let's just do that. Boom. Make sure everything gets put in properly. It does. And it gets made pretty quickly as well. Mostly because I went ahead and made 16 magical speed upgrades just so this could, go a little bit faster. Now we can automate enchanted ingots and the evil ingots as well. And that completes our second row. In you go. Next up, third row, we're going to start with the stable unstable ingot. Now the way that you make this is you do not make an unstable ingot because this will violently explode. And I am not going to go do that because I feel like I would die. Although I do have the enchantment that, prevents death, so, okay, we're going to do it. So let's just see. You divide by diamond, and this makes an unstable ingot. And if I exit my inventory, or wait 7 seconds, yeah, it violently blows up. And as you could see, it took me all the way down to 1 heart, and I think I lost some experience as well. So yeah, would not recommend ever making those like that. If you make the unstable nuggets, though, these do not explode, and then you can turn the stable unstable nuggets into a stable unstable ingot, which then you can use in the crafting. So that's what we're going to do instead. And there we have stable unstable ingots. Now these do not explode, thank goodness. Next up is melodic and stellar. We already have automation for those, so there's no concern there. Next up is HOP graphite. I know for a fact we don't have this, but the only way to actually get this is HOP graphite dust, which I believe there is a fancy way to get this. Yeah, I think it's 8 coke dust in a manufactory, and I think that's going to be what we do. So let's see, how much coke do we have? Oh yeah, we can just auto craft coke dust. So then all we need to do is have the pattern, and then a simple smelting pattern to actually get the ingot. Unfortunately, I don't actually have a manufactory over here, so we're just going to put one right here. All right, well, next up after that is uranium. I know we have that. 460,000 right there. Nice. And then refined obsidian, osmium, and glowstone ingots, and lead, which we have all of those. We have patterns for glowstone and refined obsidian, and osmium and lead come from the void miner. And that completes our third row. Starting on the fourth row, we need aluminum, nickel, and platinum. We have all that from our void miner. Iridium, mana infused, and steel. Iridium and mana infused come from our void miner. And steel we have a recipe for. Electrum, lithium, and magnesium. We should have a pattern for electrum. We do. Let's just batch up 1,000 of that. And lithium and magnesium we have from our, I think that's from our old sieve ore setup, but that's automated as well. And that completes the fourth row. Graphite, beryllium, and zirconium. Graphite we should have automated. Beryllium is something we don't have, so we are going to have to find a way to automate that. But before we look into that, let's just go grab the zirconium. I know we have a whole bunch of that. And the beryllium dust, I believe we can get that from andesite in a rock crusher. And I think we'll just set this up right up here next to our big 4x ore processing factory, mostly so we can put it into this interface right here and save on some channels, because we are running rather low on channels. I think there's 2 left in this building to use. Yep, there we go. That should be just fine. I probably will want to turn that off eventually because it will just be constantly eating our andesite. Then again, I don't know what I'm going to do with 2.7 million andesite, so I think we're perfectly fine on that front. So zirconium and beryllium are done. Next up, tough alloy, hard carbon, and magnesium diboride. I think we have 2 of them. Tough alloy we definitely have a pattern for. Magnesium diboride we also do. Hard carbon we do not though, and that is a simple 2 graphite and 1 diamond in the alloy furnace. There we go, hard carbon complete. Next up, a lithium manganese dioxide alloy. That's going to be an interesting one. And then ferroboron and alumite. Ferroboron, I know we have a pattern for, so there's no problem there. Alumite, I remember setting that up, so no problems there. And whatever this is, it looks like it's manganese dioxide and lithium. Manganese dioxide, you need manganese oxide and liquid oxygen, which means you need to get manganese oxide, which is manganese ingot and liquid oxygen, which means you need manganese. Where do you get manganese? There's got to be an easier way to get this, right? Surely. Oh, there it is. Okay, I knew there was going to be an easier way. Crushed rhodochrosite will give you straight up manganese oxide dust, which then you can put into any kind of smelter to get the manganese oxide. Okay, let's just do that because we have 65,000 rhodochrosite. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I believe it's probably in our best interest to set up a quick automation chain over in the skyscraper for that, just because, yeah, this is gonna involve more than one machine, so let's just go ahead and get that built. Well, here's our very compact setup for a lithium manganese dioxide alloy. It's pretty compact, but I mean, the gist of it, stuff gets input into this chest, it goes into here, lithium gets extracted to here, the rhodochrosite goes into here, gets smelted up, goes over to here, gets smelted into an ingot this time, goes into the fluid infuser, gets turned into the whatever ingot, goes back into the alloy furnace, and then is exported back into the interface. Theoretically, that should work. So let's just go make 100 of them, see how fast this thing actually is here. Well, I'd say that's decent enough. All right, there we go. And that completes this row as well. I think that is the 5th row. It ends in alumite, so yep, 5th row is done. Starting up on row number 6, we have osglogloss, osmiridium, and mirion. I know we already have those. Unfortunately, mirion does take elementium, but again, we'll deal with that later. Next up, psi metal, ebony, and ivory psi metal. So we're going to have to go get into PSI next, which is interesting because PSI... I know how to get psi metal, but that's about it. Another thing to note about PSI though, if we do have infinite mana, we do not have to manually shoot things on the ground like we did with the gold. We can instead just dump one of the ingots into the mana pool to get a second one with a conjuration catalyst. So I feel like we may want to be doing that instead once we have everlasting mana pool created. For now though, we're going to actually have to go get the psi metals. I believe ivory is kind of the end game of psi, so we're going to have to go, learn how to do these spells real quick, and then we can go ahead and make up a whole bunch of these, and then we'll consider that good enough for now. So I guess I'm going to go have to do some research into how PSI works. All right, well, it turns out I don't actually need to learn PSI. I literally can just do the tutorial. It literally tells you how to do everything right here. So let's just go ahead and follow through with this. It's probably going to be extremely boring to read all of this, so I'm just going to read it and do the things, and then you will just see me do the things. So we should be... You know what, I might just start running through all these. I'll show anything that's actually interesting, but let's just cut to when we can actually do psi metal. Alright, well, we're back. We have officially leveled up to level 10. I have made a couple of spells, and let's just go over them real quick. So the first spell that I made is this item jump thing. I believe this was for like level 5 or something. But if I just like shoot some items, yeah, they kind of just go up in the air. So that's pretty cool. I also made a mining spell. I believe this was for like level 9 or something. It's pretty good. You just mine stuff. Nice. Now, I totally could increase the radius of that as well, but I feel like that's a bad idea. And we just now unlocked infusion. Theoretically, if I drop gold ingots on the ground and shoot them, we now have psi metal. Unfortunately, this doesn't mean much because you can melt down psi dust into psi metal, at least in this mod pack. At least now we have psi metal unlocked in full. So I think we're just going to dump a whole bunch of gold on the ground. We're going to make a whole bunch of psi metal, and then we are not going to worry about psi metal at all. The real question is, how much can this do at once? Let's find out. all of it. All right, well, we are never going to have to worry about psi metal again. Well, now that that's done, on to more learning. I believe we need to get down to a greater infusion, and I think that's it, although we may have to look deeper into this. I'm not really sure, but I guess I'll come back when we have greater infusion unlocked. All right, well, here we are, as you can see right here, ebony and ivory in greater infusion, and we have the ability to make ebony and ivory psi metal finally. So that is great, but let's go ahead and take a look at the other things that I made for the spells to actually get here, because, you know, this mod is actually pretty cool, I won't lie. So as you can see right here, this one's called Move Block, and yep, that's literally what it does. It just moves a block. So that's pretty good. I also have this one. This one's actually called Smite, but I guess I didn't name it right, but anyways. We can just summon lightning on command, so that's pretty good. And then the last one we have up here is Blink, which it's literally just, it's just Blink. So that's pretty cool. Psi reminds me a lot of Ars Nouveau, except it's more complicated because you can go like 3D with your spells instead of 2D that Ars Nouveau has. Pretty big fan of this mod. I wish that E2E forced me to actually, you know, look a little bit more into it. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So we are going to conclude our Psi journey here and go ahead and make a whole bunch of ivory and ebony Psi metal. If we go ahead and take a look at the ivory Psi metal, 8 ivory substance and 1 psi metal ingot makes you 1 ivory psi metal, which is not a whole lot. So we need 8 stacks of quartz to get exactly 1 stack of the ivory psi metal, which that is quite a bit of quartz. So I have a feeling we may want to just bring a drawer to the end and then just like dump a whole bunch of it on the ground and then shoot it. By the way, if you didn't know, ivory and ebony can only be made in the end, so we're going to have to make a quick trip to the end. But let me go ahead and gather up a whole bunch of quartz and coal, and then we can just shoot that with our new spell. All right, well, we're just going to warp back over here to 10,000 because I conveniently have it saved in my dislocators. Well, let's go ahead and place these down. We need to dump all of these on the ground. If we have to shoot individual stacks, we're going to be here for a little while. If it works the same as psi metal, though, we literally will just have to shoot it once and then it'll be fine. Anyways, get all this dumped on the ground. Make sure we're on the correct spell. We are on ebony and ivory. And there we have it. Boom. Let's put all this back because we are going to need it. We'll only be able to make 512 of each, but honestly, that's probably going to be good enough. We should be able to make 8 stacks. Yep. And we can also make 8 stacks of this. And there we have the psi metals complete. Let me make sure those are in the right order. Ebony and ivory. Perfect. All right. Let me go ahead and pack up all of the psi stuff. Wow, I really did get sidetracked doing all that. Okay, anyways. Next up is fluxed electrum, ironwood, and fiery ingots. Now, hopefully I actually have enough. I have 28,000 fiery essence. So that should be enough to make all of those fiery ingots. Ironwood is the same thing. And then we needed fluxed electrum, which we do have a recipe for. So I'm just going to queue up 100 of that real quick, and then we will consider that good as well. Next up is night metal. Let's go ahead and check if I actually have that. Night metal. I do not have a whole lot of night metal. You can, in fact, make seeds, so that is what we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead and make some seeds here. We need 2 ingots, 2 blocks, and the usual mystical agriculture stuff to make these. All right, let's go make those real quick. And boom. Yeah, that's a pretty good start. And I think we're going to go ahead and swap out the dragon egg seeds for this. I don't think we're going to need a whole lot more dragon eggs. Plus, we've got 229 stacks of the essence. I think that's going to be plenty enough. All right, next up, it looks to be just a bunch of pretty common metals or alloys. We got copper and tin and invar. Copper is right there. Tin is right there. Invar we have a pattern for. And I know that for a fact because it's used in black iron. Bronze, constantan, and signalum. Bronze, I know we have a pattern for that, as we do with constantan. And same thing for signalum, which we should just queue up 1,000 of that real quick, just because. And I think the last 2 in this row is going to be, yep, lumium and inderium, the thermal foundation alloys, which we do have automation set up for both. So again, queue up 1,000 aluminum just because we can. And we have 184,000 inderium essence, so there's nothing to worry about there. And that completes the 6th and 7th row. 2 rows left. Wow, okay, here we go. We're making some good progress. Next up, we've got cobalt, ardite, and manulian. 500,000 cobalt, 500,000 ardite, and I think we have a recipe. We do not have a pattern for manulium. Really? That is actually rather surprising, but we do now. Next up, we got night slime, pig iron, and aluminum brass. Night slime we automated when we did modular machinery, so let's just batch craft up to 500 of that. I don't know how much like slime I actually have, so let's only make 500. Pig iron is the same thing. I don't know if I ever showed that on camera, but it's a pretty easy recipe. It's just 4 iron, 2 clay, and 3 rotten flesh to make some pig iron. I don't know how much rotten flesh I have. We have about 1,000. So I guess we can queue up, queue up about 500. That's pretty good, just to have a little bit on hand. Now, aluminum brass. I don't think we have a pattern. We actually do have a pattern for aluminum brass. Well, we're queuing up 1,000. I'm very surprised we have a pattern for that. Anyways, next up, silicon ingot, titanium, and ender ingot. So silicon, we do not have one for silicon ingot. And we can make this in an electric arc furnace. So I think that's going to be our pattern. Also because it's 1 to 4, that's quite convenient. Titanium, we have about 5,000, so I'm going to consider that to be good enough. We will eventually have to go mine some with our digital miner and run it through the 4X processor, but that's for later. We have enough for our needs today. And last but not least is the ender ingot, which if we don't have a pattern for that already, I'm going to be rather surprised. Okay, we don't. Well, we do now. And yep, you guessed it, batchcraft 1,000 of it. Go ahead and put the pattern for silicon ingots into there. Let's go ahead and make, how about 1,000? Yeah, it works for me. Yep, and there we go, silicon complete as well. And that is the 8th row complete. Last row, here we come. Now the first one off rip, enhanced ender ingot. This one's going to be painful. It takes 4 ender ingots, that's not too bad. But the ender star is the real kick in the teeth because we need to somehow automate Stardust, resonating gems, and we need to autocraft that thing. So that's going to be fun. Resonating gems, the hardest part. Stardust, we can literally just grind down some star metal, which I think we are probably going to have to do. I have ender, we already have a pattern for ender star. Let's make a pattern for that. There we go. No idea how many dragon's breath we have. We have about 147, so it looks like we will not be making more than 2 stacks of these ultimate ingots right now. That's minorly inconvenient. And now we need to figure out a way to get a whole bunch of resonating gems, and we need to figure out how to automate ender crafting. All we have to do is use this. All right, there we go. I think that should do it. Let's just go ahead and put these back down. Now, it looks like if I want to automate the crafting of the actual enhanced ender ingot, we're going to have to put another one of these down. And, you know, another thing that I did realize, I don't really have to automate this one specifically. I could just gather a whole bunch of these. This is 100% going to be the limiting factor. So, I mean, we could just not automate this at all, which I might just do. For now, we're going to consider that good enough. And we are going to put a pin in it and do it later because we need to actually, you know, automate the creation of resonating gems, and I don't even know if that's going to be possible. So let's move on. Let's get everything else done, and then we can come back to that. Next up is end steel and solarium. I believe we do have end steel, so let's just make a whole bunch of that. Solarium, I know for a fact we kept a pattern for that, so nothing to worry about there. Vibrant alloy, electrical steel, and insanium. I know we have a pattern for vibrant alloy. I definitely had to make one. Electrical steel, I also know for a fact we have a pattern for that because I make it so much. And insanium, we definitely have a pattern for that, right? Yep, we definitely do, and we have 53,000 insanium essence. That's probably a little excessive, but I don't care. All right, and the last 3 are the Thaumcraft metals, alchemical brass, thaumium, and void metal. Now, alchemical brass, unfortunately, there is not any other way to get this other than the crucible recipe, which is a bunch of instrumentum and iron. Now, you may have noticed up here in my bookmarks, there's been a chicken stick and Constantan shears that have been here the entire episode. These 2 give only instrumentum, so I might just batch craft a bunch of Constantan shears or chicken sticks, depending on which one I feel like doing, and then we'll just chuck them into the cauldron, dump in some iron, and we'll craft up maybe like 8 or 9 stacks of alchemical brass, and we'll call it good from there. Thaumium, we have a 99,000 thaumium essence, so I'm not really worried about that. And void metal, we have 194,000 stacks, so I'm also not worried about that. So now all we gotta do is go grab some alchemical brass, and then figure out a way to get the enhanced ender ingot. Alright, well, after dumping about 18 stacks of iron into the cauldron and putting in a bunch of compressed diamond hammers instead, because that is a lot faster, we have about 7.5 stacks of alchemical brass, and I'm going to consider that good enough. I really don't know how many of these ultimate ingots we're going to need. I hope it's less than 2 stacks, because, yeah, some of these things are stupid annoying to make. Specifically, the enhanced ender ingot. So there's 2 main problems with this. First problem is, how do you fill up the starlight on the actual infuser? And how do you put the items in and take them back out? So I believe we can fix the starlight problem by making a containment chalice. And I think the next problem can be solved by either an automatic dropper, an automatic right-click machine, or I can just sit there AFK. Hopefully I don't have to sit there AFK, but I have a feeling I might, so that's going to be a little bit interesting. But I mean, I guess we'll find out once we get this chalice going, because if this does actually put the fluid back in, that's going to be great, because I can just fill up this 800,000 millibucket tank with a liquid starlight for my system. I have 17,000 buckets, by the way. I don't think we're going to run out. And then we can just dump it in there and hope it works. Well, I couldn't figure out much, so in a last-ditch effort, I tried to connect fluid pipes, and that didn't work. And then after that, I tried putting it in a bucket. And that did work. So I have a feeling we're probably just going to be doing this a whole bunch, which, you know, that sounds kind of painful. So why don't we not do that and instead set up a automation system that will take a bucket from here, right-click it into here, put the bucket back in here, right-click it, right-click, 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 and then that will fix that problem. Now, of course, we still have the other problem of, you know, doing this, and then doing this, and then waiting for 5 minutes, and then picking this up. I'm just going to go ahead and try to get this set up, and we'll cut back when I either can't figure it out, or I figured something out that kind of works. Well, here we are. By some absolute miracle, I think this does actually work. So we've got 4 automated users in total. First one here is taking liquid starlight out of this bucket. The next one is putting it right here. The third one right here puts the aquamarine into the infuser, and this one right-clicks with the resonating wand right here, and then this is an item collector that picks them up. Now let's just kind of dump the aquamarine in there and see what happens. There it is. It's getting automatically created, automatically sucked up, and automatically extracted into the chest over here. So it does, in fact, work. Well, I guess with that being completed, I'm just going to sit around. I'm going to probably batch craft about a stack of ender stars, which that should give us 4 stacks of enhanced ender ingots, and then we can use those 4 stacks to consider it good enough, and then we can go ahead and auto-craft ultimate ingots. That was a very long process, and we ain't even done yet, so here's to waiting for 20 minutes. Joke's on you, I have a time in a bottle. Oh my god. That's, how fast is this? Oh, that's way faster. Okay, I guess we will not be waiting. I guess we'll be just doing that. Well, there we go. We got enough for 2 stacks of these, and these are going to take a long time to craft, so I think we may want to make some more ender alternators, because I think these actually speed this up. I accidentally made 10 more, and by accidentally I made on purpose, because I think I can double them up. Yep, looks like I can. And yeah, I think that will do just fine. How fast is it now? Still slow. Again, joke's on you. I got a time in a bottle. And there we go. All of the enhanced ender ingots are crafted. Crafted? Yeah, I've been doing this a little while. I'm kind of losing my mind. Anyways, 514. We had 2 from earlier. Nice. That is everything done. Let me go ahead and grab one. And we put it in here to signify we are done. And save the recipe. Boom. With ultimate power comes the ultimate ingot. Nice. Now we got to go ahead and make the pattern. I do not remember particularly how to do this. I know we need the packager. No, do we need this? No, we need like the, hold on, I think we need like a different thing. It's literally right here. We need this. Boom. There we go. Now we do want this to be in ordered, and we need to grab a recipe, I believe, and then that should show up in our terminal, right? It does. All right, let's just make one. We have everything we need. Let's go ahead and start that and run over here and make sure everything is actually working as intended. Yep, it's putting things in. Oh my god, look at that. That is going to take forever. Oh my god. Wow. And that just goes straight back in. Ultimate ingots have been automated. That was a process. Holy man. All right, well, there we have it. Ultimate ingot is done. Now look at this thing. It is absolutely beautiful. All right, well, there we go. Now, you know what? We did make this pattern for a reason, so let's make 2 stacks. Still missing something, and that would be, yes, Elementium and Mana Steel. Who would have guessed? All right, well, we gathered up all of those resources. All right, we've gathered up the Elementium and Mana Steel we need. It looks like everything is here. Everything should be fine. I'm just gonna hit the thing and see what happens. Okay. I'm kind of worried about this. This is gonna take forever, and we need to make sure that nothing gets clogged up. More specifically, this, we need to make sure this is fine. It looks to be good because I think the nether star actually got here first, so that's good. I think we're good. I think we're good. Let's just check. How we doing? Okay, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and let this cook for a little bit, and we'll cut back and see if everything actually did work. By some miracle, this entire setup actually managed to autocraft correctly. Well, with ultimate ingots being completed, let's move on to the next couple things that we're going to do this episode, and by next two I mean last two because this is probably already super long already. We are going to craft Anglesite and Benitoite. Now, looking into both of these, we don't actually need that many of them. Let me grab my book here because I actually calculated exactly how much we need. We need 87 Benitoite and 78 Anglesite. And of course, ultimate ingots, a lot. Now you may be thinking, now hang on just a minute. These things are used in the creation of just about every creative item, including infinity catalysts. Now infinity catalysts are used in various things, such as ultimate ingots and the infinity armor, with the majority being in the infinity ingot. So if we take a look at this, we need 9, 10, 11 of them for the ingot, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 total infinity catalysts if we wanted to craft one of everything. But you're probably thinking, infinity ingots, yeah, you need these for everything. You need a lot of infinity ingots, so there is no way you only need 87 Benitoite. Well, here's what I have to say about that. The good old infinity ingots, right? We take a look at what you can use infinity ingots for. You can see you can melt them down into a molten infinity, which then, using a fluid transposer, you could fill literally any kind of fluid tank, including the creative one. So we only really need to make one ultimate ingot to be able to complete the pack, because we can just melt it down and dump it into the creative fluid tank, and then we can just pipe it out and put it in, you know, a fluid transposer or something, and then turn it back into an ingot. And then basically we will have infinity ingots. That's weird saying it twice, but that is how it is. And the creative fluid tank recipe does not even take one at all. So you literally only need to ever craft one of them. And that's exactly what we are going to do. I think just to have a buffer, I'm going to craft 100 of each. So that is a stack and 36. I was also thinking maybe we could do stack and half. That would be 96. But you know what? Let's just go with 100 because we can autocraft the majority of the stuff in here. So let's go ahead and grab a couple of chests here. And we can start laying out the things that we need. Starting with the Anglesite, because it is actually the easiest. We need 100 destabilized cloth rate, resonant cloth rate, and energized cloth rate. That should be pretty easy. All we need to do is we need to head back out to the planets, and we need to grab a couple extra of each of these. We have 91 resonant and 99 energized, which is like super annoying because we're super close. So let's just go ahead and grab the extra ones we need. Well, there's our energized cloth rate right here. And here we have our resonant cloth rate right here. And all the cloth rates have been completed. I guess you could also count rich slag as a cloth rate because it looks similar, but I mean, it's not really an exotic material, you know? All right, well, there we go. Those are all those four completed. Next up, we need to grab a stack and 36 of each of the environmental tech materials. There we go. And last but not least, we need to grab all of the Ender IO materials. So we need enticing crystals, weather crystals, prescient crystals, octatic capacitors, and sentient ender. Now I have auto crafting patterns for all of these. I think one of these is not going to work because we either don't have enough Enderman heads or the tools are going to break in the slice and splice. I think that's the sentient ender. I'm not really sure, but let's just go ahead and start auto crafting all of these. Starting with the weather crystal, because this is a combination of all of the crystals combined. Now the reason I selected 100 is just so I can do this. Boom! And there we have our weather crystals. Let's go ahead and get the next one queued up here. Looks like we have 10 prescient already, so let's just only craft 90 to save some time. Now just looking ahead, the sentient ender, they do take enderman heads to craft, so I think we are going to have to grab some more of them because I think, yeah, we only have 56 heads. So I think we're going to have to make some kind of tool to, you know, get some enderman heads. I believe cleavers all come with beheading by themselves, so we just gotta make one that has some pretty high damage, probably like supremium. And yep, there we go, supremium clever, a solid 28 base damage. Now this should come with a couple modifiers off rip. It does, so let's just dump some lapis on here. Luck 1, a luck 2, and luck 3. That will make this extra lucky, so hopefully we can get a whole bunch of enderman heads. Well, there we have our prescient crystals complete. Nice. Next up, let's start the enticing ones, and then we can go for the sentient enders. And there we have the enticing crystals. Let's go ahead and queue up the octatic capacitors as well. We may as well get a start on that, right? And then let's go chop up some endermen. Well, all things considered, that didn't take very long to get those Enderman heads. Alrighty, there we go. Sentient Enders are completed, and the octatic capacitors as well. And that should be every single thing that we need to make this, minus the centerpiece, which is quantum entangled singularity, which you create by dropping a single singularity and one ender dust, and then blowing it up. How do you get the singularity this is talking about? It's from applied energistics, and you need to condense matter in a matter condenser. I believe you need to fill up a 64K ME storage component. We are going to fill it with water, because I'm fairly certain you can do that. Now, to make this matter condenser, we are going to need to make a quantum compressor. Now, the quantum compressor is literally 16 pistons, some black iron, some compressors, some auto compressors, and a compressing factory. So let's just go ahead and make that real quick. All right, there we go. Got everything for that. Now I just need to upgrade this to the ultimate version, and then we should be able to slap this in and make this compressor thingy. There we go. Quantum compressor. Now we are going to need to automate this, because this is the thing that makes singularities. Now we need to put 10,000 items plus a crystalline catalyst to get these singularities, which is going to be just fantastic. But we're going to ignore that for now. We're going to have to figure out how to do that with the ME system, because there is no way I'm going to manually move 170,000 of each of these. That's just not going to happen. I'm going to autocraft that. Is that a bad idea? Probably. Do I care? Absolutely not. So now we need to actually make the matter condenser, so we're going to need a elite compressing factory. Again, I just made one of those. And then 10,000 pistons. That's a lot of pistons. I have a recipe for this, so that feels illegal. Okay, we do not have enough crafting CPUs for that. We will be using 170,000 cobblestone, 5,000 nickel, and 15,000 treated wood. All right, well, let's try to batch these in 5,000s. Hopefully my processors can handle that. And then we can batch up another 5,000. There we go. Okay, we are now crafting a whole bunch of pistons. Anyways, quick update on the ultimate ingots. We have managed to make 69 of them, and that took me probably about an hour to craft all of this stuff, so that's just fantastic. All right, well, with those all crafted up, there's literally not much else we can do for this other than wait, so we're going to have to just wait. I guess now we can take a look at the Benitoite. The issue with the Benitoite is it's going to be extremely annoying, just like everything else. Yep, this is the magic stuff. So we're going to need 100 Gaia Spirits. I believe we have exactly 0. We're going to need 100 Dragon Stones, which involves throwing 100 Mana Diamonds into the Elven Portal, which involves throwing 100 Mana Diamonds, 100 Normal Diamonds into the Mana Pool. We're going to need 100 Mana Pearls, which consists of throwing 100 Ender Pearls into the Mana Pool. Elementium, we are going to need to throw 200 Mana Steel into the Elven Trade, which consists of throwing 200 iron into the mana pool. We are going to need to make a nature pylons, which consists of mana steel and mana diamonds, which we are going to have to throw into the mana pool. And then we are going to need 100 mana diamonds, which we will be needing to throw diamonds into the mana pool. And then pixie dust, which we need to throw 100 mana pearls into the Elven Trade, which means we have to throw 100 Ender Pearls into the mana pool. I have a feeling we will need to use the mana pool, and that is going to take forever. So yeah, I guess we're just going to be AFKing the mana pool for the next like 4 hours. Alrighty, we are back. It has not actually been that long. It's been around maybe 15 minutes or so, but the pistons are done and I have made a discovery. So first of all, let's go ahead and put all these pistons where they need to go. I am going to just transfer these by hand because I'm lazy and it's not very far away, so hopefully I can just like go in. Hello? How do I put them in? All right, well, in an interesting turn of events, nothing is working, so I tried to put the compressing factory in there and it ate that just fine, but it doesn't want to eat the pistons for whatever reason. Why not? Okay, well, I'm going to have to do some more research on that, but I'll get that going in a second. Another thing that I have been doing in the meantime is, since we actually need a whole bunch of Gaia spirits to actually make the Benitoite, I figured I'd just fight Gaia for a little bit, and I kind of forgot that Gaia just drops Botania stuff. So we go ahead and look here in Botania. We've got, 8 mana diamonds, 30 pearls, 68 steel. Yeah, we've just been getting free stuff. I completely forgot that happened. The only annoying thing about that is that Gaia takes forever to fight, but I may or may not have found a little cheese, and it's not even this. The mob crusher doesn't even attack Gaia, which is really unfortunate. But you want to know what can kill Gaia instantaneously? A macro can, but I think you have to weaken it first, so let me just give it a couple hits. Another thing that I discovered, you can only deal so much damage to this thing at a time. I brought in the Draconic Staff of Power that I leveled up. I don't ever think I showed that on camera. I leveled up my Draconic Staff of Power to Draconic tier. It has 105 damage total, and it did 22. But anyways, let's just go ahead and destroy Gaia real quick once it teleports here. There you go. if you weak it a little bit, it'll just instantly die, which is extremely convenient and also speeds up the guy fight substantially. So that's what I've been doing. As you can see, we've already acquired a whole bunch of this stuff, plus a couple Black Lotus we can chuck in to the mana pool to give it some extra mana. Everything is going pretty well, so we're just going to keep fighting guys, keep getting Botania stuff, and figure out why the pistons don't want to go into the compressor. Well, good news, I figured out the quantum compressor, it was just being temperamental and didn't want to work, so it does in fact work now. We're currently putting all of the pistons in place. I have a feeling our power transfer rates are not up to par with this thing. I think it is probably a good time to replace some of these cables with the melodic ones. Well, I ran a melodic cable all the way down to the induction port that way. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, we have our matter condenser. I'm just going to go set this up, probably not in the base, so we don't have to deal with power problems. And then we are just going to craft another sink. We're going to dump water into this thing. I hope this thing accepts water, considering I gave it a 64K storage component, not fluid. If it doesn't accept water, I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably just craft a bunch of those cobblestone generators and place them down. But if we go ahead and place a bunch of these, we place this down, and let's just put a storage drawer there, and then it can store everything in a drawer. And you know what? This is a certified front yard contraption, and that is in fact inputting. Now, it is not very fast. Just go ahead and put this in. We'll put an item cable. I don't actually know if this is going to work because technically these don't stack. Wait, no, those are the quantum entangled ones. No, these ones stack to however much they want. Okay, good. You know what? That's going to be fine. We'll just kind of let that sit here while we work on all of this stupid mana stuff, which, by the way, we're not even halfway done yet. Would you look at that? It is beautiful. All of, or most of the magic items have been obtained, specifically from Botania, of course. This did take a very, very long time to do because the mana pool was not playing very nice and was going very slowly. But in that time, we were able to gather up a bunch of singularities, which we do need to make the quantum entangled ones. So let's go ahead and grab about 100 of these. We have 30 stacks. So I won't lie, it may have been a couple days between clips, but we can go ahead and grab 100 of these, and we will now need to turn these into quantum entangled ones. All right, there we go. Ender dust and singularities have been acquired. Now I am, as you can see, in the end over here. That's because I don't want to have to fix the hole that I'm about to make. So let's go ahead and dump all of this on the ground. Place a piece of TNT right next to it and blow it up. Now, you know, I did just have a thought here. This is going to, yeah, these only stack to 2s, and we just made 100, so I'm going to have to utilize every single extra inventory that I have, which is slightly inconvenient. But you know what? We somehow do actually have enough space to carry all of that. Now all I gotta do is craft up the Anglesite because we have everything gathered now. The unfortunate thing about crafting all of these Anglesites is the non-stackable singularities and the fact that we have to do it in the crafting core, which does mean we need to take a filtered output, but that can be done real quick, not a concern there. And just like that, everything is getting inserted into here. Let's go ahead and grab all the other components now. Place them all in the hoppers. And now we can start crafting the Anglesite. Perfect. Now I'm going to wait to craft one of these, grab it off of here, and then we can put it on this filter right here. There we go, and we can turn that on. So we will only extract the actual Anglesite. Yep, there we go. Perfect. And then this should automatically put on the singularities and craft up all of these automatically. Now the next thing on the list is to finish up the Benitoite, which is going to be a little bit unfortunate. We do have all the Botania stuff. We also have Stardust and Resonating Gems, but we need to gather all of the rest of this, which I have bookmarked. Let's start off with the complex arcane mechanism. If you remember, we have a modular machine that can make these, so let's just go ahead and make all 100 of those. We should have everything we need. Did I perchance turn all of the brass that I made for ultimate ingots into plates? Maybe, but at least we can make these without a hassle. Now let's go ahead and move on to the colored lens. Yeah, this is going to be fun. We are going to have to gather up 100 of all of these materials, so we're going to need to grab some more luminous powder. We're going to need some more Stardust. And of course, we're going to have to go up to our resonating gem automation and the glass lens. We can also put some glass panes into that automation as well to get our glass lens. So why don't we just go ahead and gather all of those. Okay, interestingly enough, the colored lens here, they can only be crafted 2 at a time because we can't get enough starlight to go into this thing. I even time in a bottle that, which looks like it's going faster, but that still didn't help. So we can only make these 2 at a time. All right, I think I'm going to come back and do that later. Why don't we just go ahead and collect up as much of this as we can that does not require just sitting here doing stuff. And another thing of note, it appears that the arcane mechanisms are also stuck. I'm not sure what that's about. Okay, so it looks like the issue is that there are missing crystals here. I'm fairly certain there's supposed to be a bunch of crystals there. Let's just go ahead and take a look here. Yeah, there's supposed to be crystals growing here, and they appear to be gone. So I think we're going to go have to grab some more crystals real quick. Well, you know what? I think I'm just going to go ahead and fix both of those things, and then we'll come back when I have that fixed. And then maybe can also do the purple glass in the meantime. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's just come back when that's done. Alrighty, got a couple more order crystals. Now, I am just going to go sit by that thing, because I'm fairly certain those crystals were there before I started this. So let me just go ahead and place these two back. Okay, there's crystals in there. This should be processing now. Yep, very nice. I'm going to watch these crystals. I don't know what's happening to them. And while we're waiting, why don't we just go ahead and look at all the recipes for the other things, because I have a feeling it's going to be rather boring watching me craft all these things because of the sheer amount of garbage that I need to get. Obviously, the colored lenses is going to take forever to craft because I can only make them 2 at a time. Probably just montage that. Ender Star, I believe we are out of Dragon's Breath completely, so we will have to go back to the end to gather some more, and then, of course, gather all of the garbage we need for this and wait around for it to craft because that takes forever. And then we are on to blood magic stuff after that. We need 100 ethereal slates, which is the tier 5, so we're going to be sitting at the blood altar. We need 100 of the draft of Angelus, which means we need to gather 100 weak blood shards, which means we need to go kill a bunch of things with that blood sword. And we're also going to need 100 antiseptic, so we need to gather up 100 of each of these. We also are going to need 100 charging runes, which takes 100 blank slates, which takes 200 of these, which you get from 200 living rock in the blood altar. And also 100 demonic slates, which, guess what? More blood altar and more living rock. And we're also going to need 100 acceleration runes. We're going to need a bunch of Inori crystals and cakes. That's easy. We are going to need 100 more demonic slate, which means 100 more living rock at the blood altar. And we're going to need 400 blood tanks. Now, the issue with these blood tanks, they also take a blank slate each, which means since we need 400 of these, we are going to need 400 more living rock. So I think that was about 900 living rock total that we need. So we're going to be sitting at the blood altar for a very, very long time, which is going to be extremely boring. So we'll probably just do a I'm going to stab myself to death montage, as well as a crafting colored lenses montage, as well as a gathering up materials montage, plus maybe a collecting dragon's breath and crafting this montage. That one's probably going to be boring and get chopped out because this video is probably extremely long already, but the rest of these, yep, it's just going to be sitting at altars crafting things. Hooray. Oh, nope, the crystal's gone. Great. Okay, so that one lasted a little longer at least, but it does in fact consume the crystals, which is just fantastic. I'm either going to stop crafting it here and literally just go make them manually at a workbench, which I think is a bad idea because you do need Vs crystals, and I really don't want to go gather up Vs crystals, so I'll probably just bite the bullet and craft a bunch of these. It's going to be annoying, but what are you going to do, right? I guess it is crafting montage time. This is going to take me a very long time, but for you guys, it won't be too bad. behold, here we have everything that we need. Now, that did take a very long time. The longest part was actually blood magic. Crafting the Draft of Angelus and getting all of these slates took forever. I'm very happy that I discovered you can put the blood orb on the blood altar to fill it up, because otherwise, it would have taken me like 3 hours to make these. But hey, everything is done, so why don't we go ahead and actually, craft the last thing that we need. Finally. Oh my god, this video is probably super long. But you know what? We've committed already. It's fine. Anyways, we can also take out our 100 Anglesite, and that is all of this that we will ever need, hopefully. Now, it also appears that I have made more singularities than I needed, so we're going to have to deal with that later. I'm probably just going to trash them all. But let's go put the Anglesite into our endgame chest over here, and let's go craft up the Benitoite. In goes the Gaia Spirits. And now we are crafting Benitoite. Very nice. Now this is probably going to take a while, so we probably are just going to cut this out because this video is super long anyways. But there's one thing that I want to do before those are all completed. When I was fighting Gaia, I got this random thing, which you probably saw, the Pinkinator, which apparently you applied directly to the Wither. I think I know what this is, but we're going to summon the Wither just to see. Alright, let's see what this thing does. Oh, yep, I knew that was what was going to happen. Why is it pink and why is it running away? No idea. Anyways. Yep, that's about what I figured would happen. Okay, let's go wait for these Benitoites to craft up. Well, just like everything else this episode, that took forever, but we now have 100 Benitoite complete. Well, let's go ahead and put that into the endgame chest and call it for the episode, because, oh my god, this episode took a very, very long time. I probably should have split that into 2 episodes, one to make ultimate ingots and one to make the Anglesite and Benitoite. But you know what? At this point, we've already committed to it. Whatever. That's going to be it for this episode. And now that we have Anglesite, Benitoite, and the ultimate ingot, we now have access to start crafting some of these endgame things. More specifically, creative mana tablet, creative mana pool. We can do the creative screen. We can do the modifier. Can we do the mill? We could probably even make the creative mill if we wanted to. We have options on the table. So I think next episode, instead of getting started right away, I think we're going to build an endgame building. I need a place to put my crafting tables here, and, honestly, one more building to the city, probably right on the front lawn, just because, we use the front lawn so much for progression. We may as well finish progression on the front lawn as well. So we'll probably put that right there, build a really cool endgame building to finish off the city, and then we will start working on some creative items. Which creative items will we be working on? I guess you'll just have to find out next episode. Goodbye.